Let me begin with a scene that is extremely common. An MSME founder invests in sales training program. The team attends with good intention. The room is energetic. There are frameworks on the screen. Exercises are done. New concepts are discussed. Words like consultative selling, value-based conversation, objection handling, qualification, customer pain points, all of it sounds powerful. At the end of the training, everyone feels positive. The founder feels satisfied. The sales team feels motivated. For a few days, the team even talks differently. But 2 or 3 weeks later, something begins to happen quietly. The old patterns come back. The same weak follow-ups return. The same superficial customer conversations continue. The same pressure on quotations and targets reappears. And eventually, the founder says, "Sales training does not stick in my company." Now, let me say something very clearly. In most MSMEs, the problem is not that training is bad. The problem is that training is treated like an event while behavior change requires an environment. That is the real issue. And unless founders understand this deeply, they will continue spending on training while getting very little lasting change from it. Now, here is the principle we must understand. Training creates awareness, not automatic change. This is the first principle which needs to be understood. Training creates awareness. It can create insight, it can create language, it can create short-term motivation. But awareness is not the same as embedded behavior. A salesperson may attend a program and understand intellectually that asking better discovery questions is important. But if the company's daily operating rhythm still rewards speed over quality, quotation count over qualification quality, and target pressure over process discipline, then that new learning has nowhere to survive. It remains in the notebook. It does not enter the system. And whatever does not enter the system eventually leaves behavior. This is why sales training often feels powerful in the room and weak in the field. Now, here is what I have repeatedly observed. Across larger sales structures I have operated within in the past, and later while observing and advising founder-led businesses, I have seen this pattern repeatedly. Teams do not reject learning. Most salespeople are not anti-training. In fact, many of them genuinely want improvement. They want to sell better. They want more confidence in customer conversations. They want to stop losing deals for preventable reasons. But the moment they return from training, they re-enter the same environment, same reporting format, same review questions, same rushed proposal culture, same unclear CRM stages, same founder impatience, same absence of coaching follow-through. So the old environment quietly overpowers the new learning. This is not resistance, this is structural gravity. The system pulls behavior back to its old baseline. Now, let me dive deep on why sales training fails to stick, and there are 4 deeper reasons. Let me now break this down. First is the organization rewards old behavior. This is the most common reason. Let us say that training teaches ask deeper questions, understand business pain, map stakeholders, define next steps clearly, avoid jumping to product too early. All of this is correct. But when the salesperson returns to work, what is the organization actually rewarding? If the manager asks only how many calls did you make, how many quotations did you send, why did you not close this deal yet, then the implicit message is clear. Do whatever helps you move faster. Depth is secondary. So the salesperson adapts not to the training but to the reward structure. This is why training often does not stick, because the company says one thing in the training room and rewards something else in the field, and behavior always follows reinforcement. Now the second point is there is no operational embedding. This is the heart of today's episode. Operational embedding means that the learning from training gets translated into the day-to-day machinery of the business. That means meeting formats change, review questions change, CRM fields change, proposal logic changes, coaching conversations change, manager expectations change. Without this, training remains isolated. Let me give you an example. Suppose a team is trained to qualify opportunities properly before sending proposals. Excellent. But if the CRM does not include clear qualification stages, and if weekly reviews do not ask whether qualification was done correctly, and if the founder still pressures the team to just send the quotation fast, then the training has not been operationally embedded. It has been intellectually appreciated but operationally ignored. That distinction matters. And the third reason is managers do not convert training into coaching. Training is not enough. Managers must convert training into coaching. This is where many MSMEs unknowingly fail. The founder arranges training. The external trainer delivers the program. Everyone claps. The session ends. And then the sales manager returns to the usual style of supervision. No one coaches the team on the new behavior. No one reviews actual calls against the new method. No one observes whether discovery has improved. No one helps salespeople struggle through the awkward early phase of adopting a better method. Because every new skill feels unnatural in the beginning. Without coaching, people revert to familiarity. Not because they are undisciplined, but because the new behavior has not yet become natural. So, if training is not followed by coaching, it fades every single time. Fourth is founders expect immediate revenue instead of behavior shift. This is another subtle but important issue. Many founders expect training to immediately improve numbers. That expectation creates impatience. But the sequence of transformation is not like this. Training to immediate revenue jump. The real sequence is training to better awareness. Better awareness to better behavior. Better behavior to better consistency. Better consistency to better conversion, and better conversion to better revenue. Revenue is downstream, behavior is upstream. If founders do not respect this sequence, they become disappointed too early. They conclude that the training did not work, when in reality, the behavioral transition was never given time, structure, or reinforcement. Let me share a realistic MSME scenario to make it practical. Imagine a mid-sized industrial MSME. The founder brings in sales training for the team. The program teaches consultative selling. The team learns how to ask, what is the cost of this operational issue? What happens if the current process continues for another 12 months? Who else will be involved in approving these decisions? This is excellent. Now the training ends. The next Monday, the weekly review starts. What does the founder ask? Why are proposals pending? How many inquiries came in? How many deals can close this month? Why is this target still low? No one asks, what business pain did we uncover? Was the stakeholder map complete? Did the customer define the cost of delay? Was the next step clearly agreed? So the team quickly understands something. The company attended consultative selling training, but the company still runs on transaction thinking. Once that contradiction appears, the training begins to evaporate. Now, the question is, what actually makes sales training stick? Now let us shift from diagnosis to design. If you want sales training to stick in an MSME, 4 things must happen. First, convert concepts into operating behaviors. If training teaches better qualification, then define what qualification means in your sales process. Second, change review structures. Managers must ask questions that reinforce the new approach. Third, align tools and templates. Your CRM, proposal format, and pipeline stages must reflect the sales method you want the team to use. Fourth, coach repeatedly, not once, not twice, repeatedly, because behavior changes through repetition under guidance, not through one energetic sessions. In one advisory context where the real focus was sales structure, the breakthrough did not come because people were trained harder. It came when the operating system around them was clarified. The review rhythm changed, definitions became sharper, pipeline stages were made more meaningful. Managers stopped conducting vague sales meetings and started asking better decisions questions. Once that happened, learning had a place to live. And when learning has a place to live, performance begins to change. That is the difference between training as inspiration and training as transformation. Now, here is the hard truth founders must accept. Let me say this directly. If sales training is repeatedly not sticking in your organization, it may not be a team problem. It may not even be a trainer problem. It may be a leadership design problem. Because if leadership does not redesign the environment after training, the environment defeats the training. That is hard to accept, but it is necessary. Now, 3 questions every founder should ask after any sales training. After any training program, ask these 3 questions. What specific behavior do I now expect my sales team to demonstrate differently? What meeting, system, or process will I change so that this behavior is reinforced? How will my managers coach this behavior over the next 30 to 60 days? If you cannot answer these questions clearly, the training will likely remain inspirational but temporary. Sales training does not stick in MSMEs while learning remains detached from operations. It sticks when the organization changes the environment around the learning. Training must not remain as language. It must become process. It must become review rhythm. It must become manager behavior. It must become system logic. That is when sales capability compounds, and that is when training stops being an event and starts becoming a business asset. If this episode helped you rethink why sales training often fades away inside MSMEs, consider following this podcast as we continue this structured series on sales chaos to sales clarity. And if you know a founder or sales leader who keeps investing in training but not seeing lasting change, you may thoughtfully share this episode with them.